All right, Eagle Nation, welcome on in A to Z Philly post-game live show. Eagles fall in the Super Bowl 38-35 in probably what will be one of the worst losses that I've ever experienced as a Philadelphia fan. To be quite honest with you, um, I'm trying to put together the words to comprehend how this happened. Now, we're going to break it down. We'll talk about, how this actually went down, how the Eagles choked in the second half, and all that stuff. Eagle Nation, give me one word to describe how you were feeling. I got to be honest, I've never experienced something like this because, you know, before the days of covering the team, you know, I would be able to just kind of turn it off and just do my thing. Now I have to come up here and answer for it. And I'm absolutely sick to my stomach. I'm telling you, there's a few losses in my mind that can compare to this amongst the Philly sports, and to see them go down this way in the final moments of the game, it is absolutely, absolutely sickening. I mean, I don't even know the word to describe what I'm feeling right now. It's almost sickening. It's devastation. That's really what it is. The Eagles go down 38-35, and before we get into the breakdown, uh, let me put the overlay on my phone. I'm all out of sorts here, guys. I'm all out of sorts here. Um, yeah, I'm just sick to my stomach, bro. That's what I am right now. Trying to find the words. That's why it took me a little bit to get on. Yeah, I'm trying to find the words to describe how I'm feeling. I just don't know how to put it into a sentence. But sometimes, the better team comes out on top, and today the Chiefs were the better team. First off, congrats to the Kansas City Chiefs. To see Patrick Mahomes battle the way he did through a busted ankle, to see him make some of them long runs. I don't want to take away credit from Pat Mahomes. He's one of the greatest talents ever. He might go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. So the fact that the Eagles were able to hang in there against him in this game says a lot about this team. At the same time, however, it is quite devastating given the fact you don't get these many opportunities, given the fact you don't get here that often. It takes an entire season. It's an entire grind to even get to this point, and to see it crumple down like that is just tough, man. It is tough. I do think the Eagles have built a really good roster, a good foundation. I think they'll be back in the future, but this stings, bro. This stinks. And before we break it down, first off, shout out to JB with the $2 donation. Thanks for a great season of content, RB. JB, thank you. And thank you to everybody who has joined the A to Z Philly movement, man. We're only going to expand this coverage. We're only going to get bigger and better and cover this team. This is a hard one, man. This is a hard one. I don't want to blame this on the officiating. I really don't. But I just want to get it out of the way. I want to get it out of the way so that we can talk about what happened, break it down. For the Philadelphia Eagles to lose that way, if the Chiefs would have punched it in and they would have scored a touchdown, I would have shook hands, bowed down, and said, congratulations, you got it. But I wanted to see that one damn final drive. I just wanted to see one opportunity. This was a classic football game. For the Eagles to even muscle their way back in, for Jalen Hurts to hit Devontae Smith on a 45-yard bomb down the sideline and punch it in, and then punch it in for two. Punch it in for two, and you tie it up in 5 minutes to go. This felt exactly like the last Super Bowl. You had to make one play. The Eagles did not. The Eagles defense did not show up. But for the officiating to take the game out of the hands like that is just absolutely sickening. Third and 4? Mahomes lobs it up from the 5-yard line. The Eagles make two tough stops on first and second. Mahomes lobs it up. Juju Smith wasn't even able to make a play on the ball. He wasn't near it. And James Bradbury slightly grabbed his waist, barely touched him, did not impact the play. And for the NFL officials, where Roger Goodell days ago said that this was the best, this was the peak that it's ever had. This was the best the officiating has ever been. This is the best the product has ever been. That is an absolute disgrace. That is embarrassing. You just ended a Super Bowl on a trash ass call. That is a joke. That is a joke. That should never happen, whether it's the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Patriots, the Bengals, whoever it is. That is a joke. The product is a joke. That should never happen. That should never happen. Let them play. The ball, it's not like he brutally messed up his path to the ball. He was not making a play on the ball. That is an absolute joke. That is an absolute joke. And that's how the Eagles go down. That's how the Eagles go down. And that's unfortunate because this isn't week 2. This isn't week 5. This was the biggest stage. It takes a whole process to get to this point. And I feel it was stripped in the final moments. Now, with that being said, the Eagles are the ones that lost this game ultimately because they choked. Because Jonathan Gannon, despite the praise he has gotten, despite the praise and the compliments and that he's going to be a next head coach, well, he just showed all the damn teams, especially the one here in Arizona, that maybe he's not so worthy of being a head coach. Maybe he's not so worthy of being a head coach. You let the Kansas City Chiefs put up 14 points in the span of 2 or 3 minutes. 2 wide open touchdowns. How does that happen? You had a rock solid first half with the exception of one drive. You had a beautiful first half. You were putting Mahomes down. You didn't let their running game accumulate anything after that first drive. You had them right where you wanted them, and you let them roll down. You let them steamroll your defense. We're talking about one of the best regular season defenses of all time. They couldn't get one sack. You're telling me Jonathan Gannon looks at Patrick Mahomes limping into the locker room at halftime on a bummed ankle and doesn't send any damn pass rush at the guy. I mean, it's not that hard. It's common sense. It's common sense. You know, you let one of the greatest skilled quarterbacks of all time sit back pretty, run around like he's having a damn field day. It's tough, man. I mean, come on. Come on. You got the best damn front in the game. You got the best rush in the game. Send some damn pressure. Come on, man. All you had to do was hit him a couple times. No, you let him sit back there, order a damn pizza, extra pepperoni. He's looking around the field. He's laughing. He's running for 32 yards. Come on. It's not all Gannon. Players got to make a hit, man. Players got to make a hit. The only guy that made a damn hit was C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who hit-sticked Pacheco with 5 minutes to go. Other than that, what are we doing here? You made it so easy for him later in that game. You're playing prevent defense. You're sitting back. Give him 5 yards. Give him 7. Give him 10. The first half, you were getting away with it because your front four was getting to Mahomes, at least making him a little uncomfortable. Still, you end the game with no sacks. This team had what, 78? 78 sacks. You didn't hit him once. That can't happen. That can't happen. Jalen Hurts showed up in this game. Maybe he didn't play the best second half, but he had 4 total touchdowns. He had 3 on the ground, set all kinds of records. His defense failed him. His defense let him down. His defense let him down. You're looking at some of the damn playmakers on this team. You're looking at BG, Hassan Reddick, who has been a monster. I mean, I could go down the list. And they couldn't stop this Chiefs team. They had one really, really dynamic weapon, and that is the great Travis Kelce. They had one really dynamic weapon, and that's the great Travis Kelce. And obviously Mahomes with his feet. It was Mahomes who torched the Philadelphia Eagles. He torched us. He made us look, he embarrassed us. He embarrassed us in the second half. You had the game right where you wanted it. You had the game right where you wanted it. You let them come right down on the first drive of the second half. The whole third quarter was taken up by 2 drives, one by the Chiefs, one by the Eagles. The Chiefs go on a 75-yard drive 10 plays to start the third quarter, and they punch it in. Whatever adjustment happened, whatever happened while you were watching Rihanna at halftime, this team they just didn't look the same in the second half. Then Quez Watkins drops a deep ball. That's one you definitely want back. Then you have the 3rd and 14. The officiating on that play was just terrible. They give them the challenge and they don't. Then they reverse it. Then they look at it. Hell of a play by Jalen Hurts. I feel bad for Jalen Hurts because, man, I wanted that guy to win this game so bad. He deserved to win this game. Outside of one crucial fumble that obviously did result in 7 points, Jalen Hurts played his ass off, man. He played his ass off. But after that 3rd and 14, through double coverage, the Eagles were making these crazy 3rd down plays. They were converting the 4th and shorts. They were doing all the little things, all the marginal things that you do to win a football game that makes you a great team. But the defense collapsed, man. And then the Chiefs come on the next drive after the Eagles go on a 7.5-minute drive at the end of the third quarter. And the Chiefs go right back. 9 plays, 75 yards, a wide open touchdown to Kadarius Toney. And then the Philadelphia Eagles on 3rd and 2 have to throw it away. Because what did the Chiefs do? John Gannon, what did the Chiefs do on 3rd and 2 when you're backed up on your own side of the field? Oh, wow. They blitzed, and Hurts had to scramble and had nobody in sight, had to throw it away. That's what the good coordinators do. 2 touchdowns that were wide open. Andy Reid is a great coach. I hate to say it. I'm always a little bit happy for Andy Reid. And, he's one of the best coaches of all time. But the Eagles let them back into that game. You let Patrick Mahomes play freely. You let him dictate the second half. With that being said, I am still very proud of what this Eagles team did this year. With the entire haul, with where they were at a couple years ago to what they did this year. This Eagles team will deserve praise, and they will get it. It's just going to take some time because of how they lost that game. And, we got a lot of people, and I know what you guys are probably saying in the chat. I just wanted to see the Eagles have one more drive to either win it or come up a bit short. And I feel that the officiating ripped it right out of their hands. That is probably one of the worst calls I've ever seen in NFL history. And for it to be called on the biggest stage in the biggest moment, to me, is just a joke. It's a joke. Shout out to Tuis, $5 donation, says launch Quez, Sitboss, and Gannon to the Grand Canyon and freak. Yeah, it's just bad. Cool Man Trev, $5 donation, says we got to stay positive on the next season. It's hard right now, man. Yeah, it's positive, and the Eagles had an amazing season. They're a great group of guys, and that's what sucks is that you're not going to get this same group, man. It's so tough to make it here. This is why after 2017, when they said this was the norm, things didn't work out. It was tough, man. It was tough. It's so hard to get a group of a collective unit, especially when guys got to get paydays, and it just takes a lot to get to this point. So the fact that the Eagles, went through the whole process, it just sucks. It sucks, man. But thank you very much. Shout out to Martian Lynch, says, I would rather have this feeling right now rather than not making it this far. I love this team and this city, and I'm not even from Philly. I mean, I respect the opinion. I would never wish what I'm feeling right now on my worst enemy. This is tough, man. This is tough. I don't think I would. I mean, I don't want to get into that right now, but I don't think I would ever want to be up. What were the Eagles up by? 10? 10 in the second half? Their largest lead of the game. What was it? I don't know. I don't have it up right now. But I think they were up by 10. And to lose this game is frustrating. Very frustrating. Again, the Philadelphia Eagles, first and foremost, choked this game away. They lost this game. But for that call to be made in that position is just inexcusable. And it's a bad product. But the Eagles can only look at themselves as to why they lost this game. I mean, they lost this game because their defense didn't show up. You didn't get one hit on Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the Eagles were controlling the time of possession 22 minutes to 8 in the first half. You couldn't ask for anything better. And the Chiefs dominated in the second half. What was it? 16 to 12 or 16 to 13 minutes. Chiefs took it back. I said after the first drive of the game, if the Eagles take away Pacheco and cut out their running game and you force Mahomes to play like a chicken without a head, the Eagles had this game in hand. The Chiefs put together a couple good drives. Pacheco running downhill. That's a tough kid, man. Out of Rutgers, 7th-round pick. Congratulations to him. You had to put a stop on it. And the Eagles' top-tier playmakers were just they were nowhere to be found. Before we continue on with this, and once again, guys, I apologize. We're going to read some of the comments here. I want to gauge how the Eagle fans are feeling. Eagle Nation, once again, thank you for rocking here on this show. It's only going to get bigger and better. The Eagles will be back. I will say that. They will be back. And this is a damn good foundation that Howie Roseman has built. But, man, this stings. This absolutely stings. I do think the Eagles can rule the NFC going forward. I think the Eagles can rule the NFC. I think they have a lot of good pieces, good young pieces in place. But this stings, man. 24 points in the second half for the Chiefs. Let me know one word to describe how you are feeling, Eagle Nation. Before we get to some of your comments, shout out to the sponsor here of A to Z Postgame Live, BetMGM. Enjoy all of your favorite sports like never before. Sign up using the bonus code ATOZPA. Receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. Find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Pennsylvania only. New customer offer. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you or someone you know has a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's get to the chat, man. One word. How are you guys feeling right now? I'm sick to my stomach. This is not going to go away for a long time. There will be time for reflection. I am grateful to have watched this team this year. They have been ecstatic. They've been outstanding. They set a lot of records. Such a tough-ass group, man. But to go down like this, it reminds me, it feels like 04 again. I was a bit young at that point, but it feels like 04, man. That's what it feels like. You had them on the cusp, and it came down to the final few drives. The offense did enough to win this game. And the crazy thing is that, Jalen Hurts, I mean, the Eagles didn't even establish a good running game. You know what I mean? Jalen Hurts had 70 yards on the ground. He had 300 in the air. He had 4 touchdowns. I mean, Jalen carried his team. That kid has done so much to prove his worth. But to be let down by some of your best playmakers, I'm talking about missed tackles. And another play that comes up to, in my head, the punt return. How does that happen? Michael Clay, what's going on, man? You had one job. Really? The longest punt return, I think it was, in NFL history in the Super Bowl? 65 yards. Puts them right on the 5-yard line. That can't happen. Good teams, championship teams, don't let that happen. Back-to-back, wide-open touchdowns. That was the game right there. That was the game. All right, we'll get to some of your words. Shout out to Cato Gaming. Thank you very much for that. Says, I feel bad for Jalen. He did everything in his power to win besides the fumble mistake. This sucks for Philly. 3 championship losses in 1 year. Sixers, oh, God. Man, I can't even think about that right now. But, yeah, the Phillies go down to eat. I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough. Sean Quigg, thank you very much. Gannon and the Cards deserve each other. Sixers on the clock now. It's frustrating, man. Let's get to some of the words from the chat. Solo Man says travesty to describe this game. Pete says rigged. We're going to hear a lot. The NFL will probably have to issue a statement about that final play. Definitely interested rather to hear what they have to say. But that's just bad for the product, man. I mean, this is the biggest stage. You had such an incredible performance by both teams, and for it to go down that way is just frustrating, man. For it to go down that way is frustrating. SJ says frustrated. Ricky says the defense blew it. What else? Michael says depressed. Yeah, I feel that, man. It's tough. Danito says self-inflicted. Absolutely self-inflicted. Absolutely self-inflicted. The Eagles, first and foremost, again, are the reason they lost this game. The defense was terrible. For John, I mean, for Jonathan Gannon to come full circle, after great playoff performances, for him to finally step up and show, like, okay, I'm that guy. Now you're going to lose Shane Steichen. You might lose Jonathan Gannon too. For it to go down this way is bad. This was the year before you cash in with Jalen Hurts, before you pay these guys. You're gonna have to make decisions with CJ Gardner and James Bradbury and this and that. This was the opportunity, man. And that's what stings. I'm proud of the guys, but this one, I mean, they have to be in that locker room right now, just in complete silence, looking around, saying, "We let this one slip. We let it slip. We let it slip, man." Unfortunate. Sean says trolls always trolling. Yeah, I know there's a lot of trolls in here. And again, keep it respectful in the chat. If you are in here, hit that like button, by the way. Thank you for being here. The rest of the rest of the people in the NFL can talk. At the end of the day, the Eagles put themselves on display this year. They were one of the most dominant teams, and they had a season to really be proud of. They had a season to really be proud of, which a lot of these other teams did not have. And honestly, they're jealous of the Eagles' future because they know with the Eagles' foundation that has been built, they can get right back here next year. And I do think players like Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown will use this as motivation, even though they came out and balled. A.J. Brown had 100 yards or 96 yards. Devontae with 100 yards. Dallas Goedert had some big catches, 60 yards. The defense, though, man, they have to be looking at themselves thinking, man, we had a legendary unit out here, man. Literally in the history books, almost broke the all-time sacks record, and we couldn't get to Patrick Mahomes. And we let him dictate, he's running, what was that, like a 26-yard scramble late there in the fourth quarter to get down in the red zone. I mean, that's tough. It's heartbreaking. That's what it is. Eagles went 11 for 18 on third down. They went 2 for 2 on fourth down. They hit these short conversions. They did enough to win the game offensively. But when you sit back and you play a great quarterback, we saw this kind of in 2017 as well. Jim Schwartz let Tom Brady, control the game, come back in it. Patriots took the lead. Obviously, it almost felt destined for the Eagles to win that game. But the first team to make a defensive play won that game in 2017. It was Brandon Graham. And I'm sitting there with 5 minutes to go, 4 minutes, 3 minutes. I'm saying just one play, just hit him once. Even if you don't take the ball away, he's going to get up bruised. He's going to get up limping. You got to get to him a little bit. You have to throw him off his rhythm. And nobody was to be found tonight. They did a lot of talking. They were confident, but they did not show up. And they especially did not show up in the second half. The Eagles will be back here, and they will use this tough loss as a motivation thing. But it's going to sting for a while, man. It's going to sting for a while. I think that swing of the Chiefs putting up 2 touchdowns along with the punt return was really where the game changed. Because that's when Kansas City finally took the lead, and that's where you're thinking, uh-oh, now you're going to have to play from behind. It's a lot better when you're keeping pace and you're leading the game by 5 points, 6 points, 7 points. But when you get down and you see the fourth quarter, there's 9 minutes to go, you're thinking, uh-oh, now we're getting into it. And the Eagles were down 8, and I was almost thinking the game was over. I was starting to feel sick to my stomach. And then Jalen Hurts pulls one out of the hat, man. He pulls one out. He finds Devontae down the sideline, a blown coverage by Kansas City. Great route running by Devontae Smith, who showed up big today. He said he would, and he did. And for the Eagles to tie it up and it is frustrating, man. 17 points in the fourth quarter by the Kansas City Chiefs. That cannot happen. That cannot happen. That cannot happen. Cato, thank you. Says, I just got rewounded. 35 is the most scored by a Super Bowl loser in NFL history. Tough loss, man. Eagles ran for a buck 15, 3 touchdowns, all by Jalen Hurts. And you know what's crazy is that Jalen Hurts didn't even play this game in full strength. They said it prior to the game on the broadcast. You know, for Jalen to come out here with 374 yards combined of 4 touchdowns, his shoulder was bothering him. He wasn't 100% either, which really got thrown under the radar. And for him to come out here and play the way that he did, putting it all on the line in the biggest game for the other side of the ball to let him down, it's tough. I mean, the Chiefs went 4 for 5 in the red zone. Eagles were 3 for 5. I thought the Chiefs defense being one of the top red zone defenses, you know, I thought that would be the key matchup right there. Eagles in the red zone versus the Chiefs red zone defense. The Eagles converted. I just didn't nobody expected the Philadelphia Eagles defense to be a no-show today. And it's tough, man. I mean, you're going up against this offensive line of Kansas City. You had clear advantages. All you had to do was keep Mahomes contained. But nah, they let him break up the middle for a 26-yard rush. So frustrating, man. Frustrating. Asher World, thank you. Says, hopefully we can resign CJ and Bradbury in the offseason. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. One of them's going to leave, most likely. Says, we should most definitely try to get Jalen Carter in this year's draft. I can't even think about the draft yet. We'll have a lot of time to break it down. We'll have a lot of time to talk about that, but I can't even think about that at this point. I'm just sick. Patrick Mahomes ran for 44 yards in this game. You got to give him credit, for staying in this game, for playing with the will that he did. I know he was hurting. But for him to muscle through and, play the way he did, he deserves a lot of credit. Pacheco had 76 yards, 15 carries, but, he did run the ball well. Travis Kelce with 81 yards. I mean, he only had 6 catches. You held him in check, really. I thought Kelce would have more than that. And the Kansas City defense only had 2 sacks. Eagles had none. Painful loss, man. Painful loss. Kenny, thank you for that. It says officiating is a problem, but like you said, momentum change in the second half. Teams can't control the refs. They can only control the game. I think that's a good point. Eagles lost this game because their defense did not show up. The officiating was absolutely embarrassing at the end. There's no way in heck that should have been called to lose the game. You don't even give the other team a chance. I mean, it did not affect his route pattern. It didn't affect anything. Ball landed freely in the end zone. And I don't even think he was looking at it for a second. So to see that go down that way is just sickening, and it's a bad product. But at the end of the day, like you said, you can only control what you can control. Eagles lost this game. They got to man up and take it. The Eagles are not going to be the 49ers and sit there and say, oh, well, this guy's not good. No, we're not going to do that. Pat Mahomes deserved it, man. He played a hell of a game. He only had 182 in the air, but he only threw 6 incompletions. He had 3 touchdowns. Pat Mahomes played a hell of a game, man, on a bad ankle. And I will give him credit for that. Like I said, Eagle Nation, a lot to be proud about. A lot to be thankful for. Great season. You don't get many seasons like this. This was probably one of the best in Eagles history. I mean, it was one of the best. I mean, all the things that added up, from Jalen Hurts, obviously the big underdog story, to, Miles Sanders being a Pro Bowl rusher, to A.J. Brown being acquired and putting up the numbers he did. Him and Devontae both over 1,000 yards. The Eagles didn't even have a rusher or receiver over 1,000 since 2014. They had a running back and 2 receivers go over 1,000. They had, just a bunch of good stories this year. CJ Gardner traded for a 6th round pick, and James Bradbury cut for nothing. Eagles pick him up. Hassan Reddick comes home. I mean, there's so many good stories. So many. But for them to go down that way is sickening. It is sickening. So that's kind of where it's at, man. I don't know if Jonathan Gannon's going to get a head coaching job after what the Eagles just put on display there, because that was bad. That was bad. You had to make one play. You had to make one play, man. Just one. And the Eagles couldn't get it done. But nonetheless, I will say that was a fantastic football game in general. That was a fantastic game. Eagles had 417 yards of offense compared to 340 for the Chiefs. There will be a lot that is looked back on with this football game. It was definitely a classic, man. It was definitely a classic, but it hurts when you're on the wrong side of it. Hurts when you're on the wrong side of it. Um, but yeah, man, that's really all I got. I'll read. I mean, I was going to read a little bit of the chat. We got a lot of trolls in here, as expected. People want to see the Eagles lose. But like I said, man, they are jealous of what the Eagles can do in the future, given the fact of where the organization's at. I mean, you look at all the offensive playmakers that are under 25 years old. You look at all these guys, that will be back here next year. You're not going to lose a ton of pieces. You got a number 10 overall draft pick. You got a quarterback that you can lock up. Who knows about Miles Sanders, but you got A.J. Brown. You got Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. You can build around this core. You got C.J. Gardner-Johnson. It'll be a priority keeping him. Bradbury might go, but Slay will be here. You got a great defensive front. Even if a couple guys move on, you still have a lot of talent. And you have a good core that you can build around. You have a solid foundation, and you've obviously found the quarterback. That's the most important part, right? You found the guy. And he's humble. He works hard. He's going to get better. He'll put this on himself somehow. He is going to get better from this game. He's going to think to himself, you know what? I shouldn't have fumbled that football. It's not true. He's going to say it, though, because of how humble he is, how Philadelphia he is. He's going to say, you know what? I shouldn't have lost that ball. That cost us the game. And Jalen Hurts will get better. And I do believe he will be back in this moment one day. I hope that's next year. Because he worked his ass off. He worked his tail off to get to this point. They doubted him. They said he couldn't ever play in the NFL. They said he couldn't throw a football. The year 1 of starting to year 2 of starting progression was absolutely insane. If you're not a believer in Jalen Hurts, well, damn it, you should be. I don't know what you're watching. Jalen Hurts obviously proved himself, and he came out and put it all on the line tonight. And I wish that he could have got it done. I wish they would have showed up for him, but they didn't. They didn't. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, going to be a new offensive coordinator next year. It was announced earlier that Shane Steichen, is going to leave for the Colts. But man, this one's going to sting for a little bit. It's going to sting for sure. Knowing that you had the opportunities to win the game, you didn't get outclassed, you didn't get embarrassed, you just choked. That's what happened. So anyway, we'll give some final thoughts. Give me any final comments that you have. Eagle Nation, once again, thank you for rocking here with this show. It's only going to get bigger. If you have not subscribed to A to Z, be sure to do that. Yeah, man, tough one tonight. You never want to lose any game like this, let alone the biggest game ever. And like I said to start the show, I feel like I've been repeating myself, but I'm at a loss of words for how that game ended, man. Very, very frustrating. It'll sting maybe until the Eagles get back to this game. Maybe. How are you going to throw the DC under the bus for one game? Are you serious? That's got to be a troll comment. That's crazy, man. The way you throw, first off, the guy has, he's had many instances like this. I've been giving him a lot of credit, but to come out and choke the way that he did, and all I'm saying is that when Mahomes is banged up, when he's potentially one hit from being out of the game. Mahomes was limping. He was in crucial pain, and you didn't get any pass rush on him. That's how. That's how, man. Come on, man. Yeah, I know a lot of trolls are in here. Again, Eagles had a solid season. They left it all out there on the offensive side. The defense didn't show up. Congrats to the Kansas City Chiefs. It'll suck to see some of these guys go. It sucks that you won't have the same exact group because this Eagles team was a lot of fun. The one thing I enjoyed about this Eagles team this year, I will say that, is that there weren't a lot of egos, There wasn't one guy kind of controlling or, demanding or whatever it may be. These guys were a lot of fun, man. They played together. Nobody kind of held a higher standard than others. They had a good time, It was fun watching. I mean, they obliterated opponents all season long. They obliterated opponents. A lot of cool stories, a lot of underdogs. And I will say, man, I was one person that wanted to derail Howie Roseman. I wanted him gone. I apologize to Howie Roseman for the job he did this season. I know he's coming back even hungrier. I know Howie Roseman will not stop here. I 100% believe in the people in charge. Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni did a hell of a job. I believe in those people, and I believe in Jalen Hurts as well. They have some work to do. Don says, I'm honestly heartbroken, bro. Jalen Hurts was unbelievable, being the juggernaut, understatement possible. Hurts deserved it, bro. Eagles played a perfect game. Maybe on the offensive side, yeah. On the offensive side. At the end of the day, man, you just, the NFL can't make that call. They can't make that call on 3rd and 4. You can't do that. You ruined what was a really, really good game at the end. Again, if the Chiefs scored a touchdown on that play, just regularly, and then the Eagles didn't score, I would have said, all right, tip my cap. But when it's ripped away like that and you don't even get one more chance to try to cap it off, that sucks. That really does suck. But at the end of the day, self-inflicted wounds. And this season comes to a crash. I mean, a lot of Eagle fans were confident in this game. It was a weird sense of confidence. It's not a normal sense of confidence that this Eagles team had, and everybody felt that this team was better. The Eagles, were the better team on paper than the Kansas City Chiefs. They had a better track history this year. They had a better, performance basis in the playoffs. But the Chiefs pulled it out tonight. And they deserved it. And giving up 17 in the fourth quarter, I don't care what you guys say. Yes, this game is on Jonathan Gannon and the defense. It's unfortunate, man. I think the Eagles will be back. I think we have a lot of good offseason coverage to talk about. I think Howie will not stop. I think Jalen won't stop. But at the end of the day, man, tough way to go out. Tough way to go out. Eagle Nation, thank you so much for rocking with the show. Thank you. I don't think I've ever been in a position where I had to take this awful emotion and come up and bottle it on a broadcast. I tried my best, man. It still stings. It's going to sting. Tonight will be rough. But thank you all for coming in here and hanging out post game and listening to what I have to say. And hopefully they can get back to this point next year. Eagles fan base is the best in the world. Eagle fans, Philly fans are the best in the world. They will support this team through thick and thin. They showed up, they showed out. Very disappointing, but use it as motivation to get back here to the next big game. And they have a lot of positives to look on. It's not like you're losing 10 free agents, and it's not like this was the last ultimate hope. No, you're building something strong in terms of structure for the future. But that's kind of where it's at, man. That being said, man, A to Z Philly post game live. Eagles go down 38-35 in the big game. Tough, tough way to go down. Devastating. Truly devastating on the biggest stage. Thank you all for coming through. Hit the like button, subscribe. We'll be doing a lot more content, a lot more coverage, and we will break it all down as we go. That being said, hopefully all of you have a great night and stay safe. And I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.